Hello, and welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and we're very glad you're joining us again today. Today we're going to have another very interesting show. We have with us from Salt Lake City, Carol Tuttle, who is the author of this book, Remembering Wholeness, and another book on wholeness. She's got also a very interesting website, which is interactive in nature and enjoins you to connect and actually go through really interesting processes, emotional clearing processes. And that's going to be the subject of today's show. Carol has done a tremendous amount of work in the domains of energy healing, clearing, and she'll be speaking about that from the point of view of her own life and the process she went through, which is rather traumatic, to the place that she is now. And, well, it's very interesting, and you'll see. Hey, Carol, how are you?
Good.
Good to have you on.
Thanks.
So, what is it that got you started in this entire journey? I mean, you were basically a Mormon housewife.
Pretty much.
Living your life there, raising children with the standard Mormon values and the like. Is that correct?
Yeah. Really active.
So,
still am. You know.
Yeah.
That was
and you
all,
still are.
That and,
Yeah.
you know, I was really applying what I'd chosen as values and principles to live my life by, and just little by little. It was really after the birth of each child that
And you have how many children?
we have 5. We have 4 biological, 1 adopted, and after the birth of my 4th child, my biological youngest son, my world just fell apart, literally. And it's not like it was like, oh, it was just fabulous, you know, the night before. It was just little by little, as those demands were put more on me, my ability to stay ahead of what my internal world, my internal mess, basically, that was brewing inside, the emotional problems that I had, a lot of what I would really classify now as generational patterns in my family that I was now starting to live and have to deal with in a really heightened state, just came down on me.
You mean emotional patterns that you were able to identify from your own
Depression,
parents?
yeah, depression. My mother was diagnosed with severe depression right after I was born. My grandmother was, her mother had severe depression, actually tried to end her life. And we don't know, I sense even before that there were several generations of women that had faced real chronic depression. And that was probably, as far as a diagnostic label, what was I dealing with? Depression would have been the most obvious problem. The tons of rage. I was just a very angry, out of control woman, raising 4 small children at the time. And so what I had learned, basically, and how to
in reality,
interpret
that is, if I may say, is a fairly standard,
Yeah.
situation.
Well,
I mean,
the conflict,
much more common than anyone really acknowledges.
I think so. And the conflict for me was I had lived a very doing, obedient life, because I thought it was all about what I did, all the doings. I was a high achiever. I was a perfectionist. So my interpretation at the time was if
Virgo?
No, I'm Capricorn.
Oh, Capricorn,
But,
another one.
There you go.
Makes sense.
I really thought if I had done all these right things, I was supposed to be happy. I didn't understand my commitment to my internal self and what I needed to know. It really started me on my journey. There's a scripture that was always very front and center for me, is that man is that he might have joy. And I thought, that's a joke. God's really cruel, and he's taunting us.
Yeah.
But it's like I took God, I went nose to nose with him and just said, I don't get it. By how I've been taught and how I understand it, I've done this all right, and I'm miserable. I don't even want to live. And I'm messing up my kids. I knew that. I knew the biggest issue for me that was my motivator was I am literally causing my children to live in a dysfunctional environment that's going to now, they're going to go on and do the same thing and worse.
And it's going to spill over into society.
Oh, yeah.
And
I knew
rather
that.
than being major contributors or
Yeah.
minor, what have you,
Yeah.
they will be, kind of more negating things.
Exactly. I knew I was just passing it on down, and it wasn't right. And I wish I could say my marriage was a motivator, that, my love and affection for my husband at the time, but there were so many issues with that. At the time, we stayed together because we have this joke. I'd tell him he'd have to leave, and he'd say, I'm not leaving our kids. And I'd say, well, I'm not either. so neither one of us would move out. And so we ultimately stayed together when we didn't
By
think
default.
when we didn't think we could.
Yeah.
And now it'll be 25 years soon, in a few months. And it's so right. It's the right relationship. We were meant to be together.